Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 85. Mounting injuries. We have our own free Discord, Patreon as well. If you guys are interested in any of those things, please DM us on the Twitters. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the video. I got Holler and McSpanky with me tonight. How is it going, fellas?
It's going. I'm at this rate. I'm being a Raiders fan. I'm worried they're going to ship me off to another team here. They're trading away everything. So
We'll take you,
maybe
McSpanky,
get
don't worry.
a bag of potato chips for my family somewhere else. We'll see.
Damn, I'd rather take you than a bag of potato chips, Spanky.
Oh, I appreciate
I would
Any
too.
day of the week.
That means a lot
but yeah,
depending on the chip.
things are good, man. I'm just every day we watch another game, and I'm hurting with all these injuries. Like,
Yeah,
you know, I'm not a Lions fan, but it hurt me watching
I almost
Hutch get
crushed.
injured like that.
dude.
Just not
it's
even
rough.
just the injury,
It's rough
but
in these
just like
parts right now.
I enjoy like the coach does everything right. I mean, like I just enjoy watching the line. They do it right, and so you know, I'm a Rams fan, but I just enjoy the Lions succeeding and doing things correctly.
Yeah, he was on his way, or Hutchinson was on his way to like defensive player of the year consideration with the numbers he was putting up. So super sad to see. The only silver lining I guess I can take from it, I heard some people talking about it today, is it's much better that it was a break as opposed to a ligament tear, because basically you're just going to wait for those bones to heal, and then you can kind of get the muscles moving again and working out and stuff. Hutch had also suffered a broken ankle in college as well on the opposite leg. Apparently that was much worse than what this break actually turned out to be. And the way they talk about him and everything, like I have no concerns for his future or anything like that. Like he's pretty much just going to come back the same monster that he was this year. It just sucks with the year that we were having and the aspirations for the season. It really puts a damper on it. Like still, playoff contenders, like it, that I feel like that's, I don't know. I don't want to say I feel like the Super Bowl window has closed because of that, but it makes it a hell of a lot harder to get anywhere closer to that when you don't have a pass rusher like Hutch out there. I won't go too much more into the defensive sadness. The defense is really coming together too. Oh man. Anyway, Davante Adams got traded to the Jets today. I'll just go that way. What do you guys think about Davante Adams heading to the Jets with his old buddy Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, who's the GM in New York? Is it Aaron Rodgers or
Yes.
what?
Yes.
This makes. I mean,
He's sold his soul to the devil at this point. He runs the whole organization. Like whatever Aaron wants to do is what happens.
And I've never seen a 2-4 team like that. Just trade for a vet receiver. Like he's 31. Like I know it's Aaron Rodgers' buddy, but dude, let's be real. Like the Jets have more problems than just wide receiver. Like Garrett Wilson's good. Alan Lazard, for whatever, I don't know what happened, that he's doing well, but he's doing well, but they can't block for anybody.
Nope.
It's bad.
Like, and I think personally, I think the biggest issue is like Aaron Rodgers is too stubborn. Like when he threw that interception last night, if you guys saw, Breece Hall was wide open. He could have easily gotten the first down, and so nobody, like, he's not going to own up to it. But to me, that was all on Rodgers throwing that ball. And I mean, not all, but like 95% was Rodgers' issue. Like he did not need to throw that ball. Breece Hall was wide open. So to me, like I agree 100%. There's more issues here. Like we don't. The Jets don't need to. They didn't need to add Davante Adams before. Then they lost last night as well. So to me, it's just like it just, I don't think anything's going to help. I don't think it really hurts Garrett Wilson, but I think it does a little bit because, obviously Davante Adams is going to get his targets. Like we can see it, how much he loves Alan Lazard. It's going to be even more with Davante Adams.
Yeah.
I saw a funny meme.
Go ahead.
I saw a funny meme. Like if you're not with us 2-4, you're not going to be with us when we're 3-7. For the Jets, like I don't think like they're not going to be any better. They needed, like, I thought their window to win was last night. just because of, new coach, new offensive coordinator, and maybe some hype. They started out well. They got the really lucky Hail Mary, but they couldn't convert in the red zone. So I don't think they're any good, and I think the issue is Aaron Rodgers.
And the defense isn't as good as it has been either, because it's not like the Bills' offense was great. It's fine, but what scares you on that Bills' offense right now? I mean, I guess Mark Cooper.
Well, now
we can get into that in a minute. But last night, I mean, it was Ray Davis and Ty Johnson in the backfield. Dalton Kincaid, he's a good player, but at the receiving position, I mean, Shakir was out there, Curtis Samuel, there was nothing. It's just Josh Allen kind of doing his thing, and they had a hell of a time stopping the Bills. I mean, Ray Davis almost ran for 100 yards. The defense has problems. The offense it's not like Aaron Rodgers is playing great. He's playing fine, but he's not great. I mean, selfishly, I kind of hope Davante Adams does great, because it helps. Those are the conditions of the trade. I don't know if you saw it. So, the Raiders got a 3rd-round pick for him, but if Davante Adams is a 1st or 2nd team AP All-Pro, it gets to a 2nd-round pick. I don't think and the other way it does is if they make the AFC Championship game, which I don't think that's happening. So hopefully Rodgers just feeds him the ball, and we'll see what happens.
So it's pretty much just a 3rd. I don't.
Yeah. But here's the thing: if you're the Raiders,
30+ years old, can he get to? I know, for the Raiders, it's good to get anything, because he's going to walk out the door next year anyway.
Exactly.
But the stipulations to get that to a 2nd just seemed insane to me. AFC Championship or All-Pro season, holy shit, man! That's some pretty lofty expectations here, especially from what the Jets have shown us this year.
It is,
and
the Jets.
Davante Adams isn't. Yeah,
they clearly don't have realistic anything, and they do this kind of thing consistently. This is why you're the Jets, and you haven't won a division in I don't know how long. It's been a while.
God, yeah, early 2000s.
Probably with Peddington, right?
I think Mark Sanchez years they did something.
Oh, Sanchez
maybe that was a playoff game. I don't know if that was just a playoff win, but I feel like there's a few Sanchez years in there when Rex Ryan was there, maybe.
But anyways, Davante Adams. What do you think for Garrett Wilson? It can't be good, right?
Yeah. So I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I think it's going to be kind of the same as we see how much Aaron Rodgers throws the ball to Allen Lazard. And I think however much he loves Allen Lazard, he loves Davante Adams even more. So I think it's going to hurt Garrett Wilson, but in my opinion, Rodgers knows how good Garrett Wilson is, so he wants to get him the ball. If anything, I think it's going to hurt Lazard the most. I would hope. But I think it's going to hurt a little bit, but not too much.
I mean, you would hope it would hurt Lazard, but Rodgers, he throws to the guys that he has a connection with, and him and Lazard and Davante have played together for so long. He just knows that hey, these guys are going to be where I expect them to be. With Garrett Wilson, I think they're getting there, but I don't think they're there yet. I think this kind of hinders Garrett Wilson's development with Aaron Rodgers a little bit, because he's just F it, I'm just going to throw it to Davante Adams because I know he's my dude. Also, Davante Adams' hamstrings magically fine now. Is that what I understand?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it definitely hinders Garrett Wilson growing with Aaron Rodgers, which wasn't a long-term thing anyway. But I also think it could help Garrett Wilson be more efficient with his touches. Even when he had those 23 targets or whatever, he had the lowest yardage total for a wide receiver to have that amount of targets in NFL history. And basically what Davante Adams is going to do is going to say you have to single cover one of us. So they're probably going to single cover Garrett Wilson at this point, because it's not like he's done a whole hell of a lot to say you need to double cover me all that much. So I think he could be more efficient, but the volume is definitely
take a hit. Yeah.
So I'd kind of already written off this season at this point with why is Ryan still floating it? I was just making just keeping on your toes, Wes. But But yeah, I had written off Garrett Wilson for the season. I traded him off for like Devontae Adams or not Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf.
Nice.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I had gotten a DK Metcalf, and now DK has like crapped the bed the past 2 weeks, so it feels really great.
This might be you might be the curse here. Maybe that's the.
I think
I could be. Don't follow me.
I just think it was a bad game script last. I mean, you would think that he would be all right because they were down, but I just think, last week, I think it was only 1 week. I think the week before DK was fine. But I think in the long run, I think you'll be all right. I think especially because Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams is coming to town. And so to me, I just think you can't really trust Garrett Wilson, what he's going to do week in and week out.
Do you think this makes Garrett Wilson more acquirable? Let's say he's on like a playoff team right now, and people maybe now they're a little scared. Do you think there's a window to potentially getting him a little bit cheaper? And do you want him? I guess is the other question. But
so first, I don't think after this last week, like he had a really solid game, over 100 yards and a touchdown. You're not going to get any discount after that. But
Devontae Adams is there now, so there's.
I know.
I could see a discount coming, like not like a huge discount, but something where you might like tilt your head a little bit, like be like, didn't know that could get me a Garrett Wilson.
Possibly, but in my opinion, in my opinion, I just think how fantasy works is like everyone's what have you done for me lately, and. I'm not going to ship him off because he just had 100 yards and a touchdown. Like, they're not going to think about the bigger picture. But I think maybe in a couple weeks you could. But I'm at a point where I don't want to deal with like Garrett Wilson, and I don't want to deal with Aaron Rodgers, and because you never know. Like, if Allen Lazard's getting 100 yards, like I don't want to deal with that.
It's the Lazard King, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing it since before time.
It will be interesting. So the Jets play the Steelers this weekend on Sunday Night Football, who Joey Porter Jr. chooses to cover. And, I mean, it's Devontae Adams. I assume he knows this offense, right? Because it's Nathaniel Hackett's Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay offense, right? So I assume he should be ready
it's Todd Dowding
to roll.
It's Dowding now.
It
is the Aaron Rodgers. It is the Aaron Rodgers offense.
Is it, though?
Yeah. It's Aaron Rodgers' offense from what all the talking heads have said. So Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave.
Oh,
I'm still taking Garrett Wilson. Yeah,
Garrett Wilson or Jalen Waddle.
Could you pick like names I dislike more?
I'm picking the crappy ones on purpose because all the good names I know who you're going to take. You're going to take you're going to take Drake London.
I'll probably still take Wilson.
Player rankings.
I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I'm taking Wilson as well.
Brandon Ayuk.
I'm still taking Garrett Wilson. Like I have not liked what I've seen of Ayuk. It's just
what,
crapshoot.
You're right. I'm gonna keep Garrett Wilson because at least he's done stuff this year. Brandon Ayuk's been awful, dude.
Okay, Garrett Wilson or DJ Moore?
DJ Moore. That one I feel good about.
I'll take Wilson
or Devonta Smith.
Gosh, I hate all these guys that you're picking. Other than DJ Moore,
this is such a gross tier of like wide receivers. Yeah. Probably Devonta Smith.
I'm with there too. And then what do you think about like Wilson and Drake London?
Oh, it's London. London has actually gone over like 140 yards with 20 some targets.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not.
So I'm on Dynasty Daddy right now, and I looking at the player rankings. I do not filter it to KTC. I just filter it to ADP Daddy, and Garrett Wilson is still at wide receiver 7, above guys like Puka, AJ Brown, Malik Neighbors, like craziness. So
there's no way. There's not a snowball's chance in hell you're getting Malik Neighbors for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
you're gonna get laughed at.
Yeah, and then if you filter it over to keep trade cut, Malik Neighbors is all the way up to wide receiver 2. So I think there's a little bit somewhere in between there. But Garrett Wilson's down at wide receiver 12, in my opinion, where I think he should be. One thing I did notice is Brian Thomas Jr. is all the way up to wide receiver 9 in keep trade cut.
Speaking of BTJ, Wes in the chat was asking BTJ versus Garrett Wilson, and I feel like I've been the Brian Thomas hater, but dude's been damn good. Give me BTJ. He's the guy in that offense too. Now, granted, he did drop an open touchdown in Jacksonville in London last week, but there was a lot of drops going on. That was some maybe chalk it up some jet lag. I don't know what the issue was, but give me BTJ there. I think he's a good player. He's got a bright future. He can catch the ball.
I agree.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm still Garrett Wilson, but it's very close. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take Garrett Wilson, but mainly just because I worry about like Trevor Lawrence and the head coach over there. But it's kind of in the same issues with the Jets. You can make it same arguments.
I mean, I feel like at a certain point, Doug Peterson gets fired, and it's just better for everyone involved.
Yeah,
in that offense.
Yeah. Yep.
Very well could be. Okay. Amari Cooper traded to the Bills.
That's what's exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. Think Amari was dropping passes on purpose?
I don't know.
It's possible.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of reports saying that he was sick of Deshaun Watson and wanted out before the season even started. But it's like that's not hard to believe. I think everyone's sick of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd have told him when Deshaun showed up, I'd have been like, send me anywhere. I don't give a shit. Just send me. Yeah. Send me. I don't care. I'm not playing with this guy.
I personally think there was some talk in our Discord that this is going to hurt Shakir and hurt Dalton Kincaid and all that. But maybe it hurts Shakir, but I think it's going to help Josh Allen. I think it's going to help Dalton Kincaid because, in my opinion, Dalton Kincaid was the guy that the defense is like, okay, we need to take him away. And now we bring in Amari Cooper. Yes, he hasn't looked the greatest, but I just think now they have to think about, okay, well, there's Amari Cooper, and then there's also Dalton Kincaid. So I think it's going to open up some things for Dalton Kincaid, in my opinion. He had a solid game last night. So I think it's going to help Kincaid. It's going to help Amari Cooper. And then I think it's going to help Josh Allen. He's been playing really well with the crap skill players that he has. Right, the only good player, in my opinion, that he has had is James Cook and Dalton Kincaid. And you take away Dalton
put some
Kincaid
respect on Khalil Shakir's name.
Hey, he's caught everything.
I think he's a very solid player. He's definitely not a one. He's not going to draw, the coverage away from anybody. That's the thing.
Correct. But I don't think he's the type of player that's going to elevate like the quarterback to be even better. Like I think he's just going to make him fine. So I think overall this Bills offense is going to be really good. But I do think the biggest thing is they're just going to continue running the ball. They have James Cook when he's healthy. They have Ray Davis that looked awesome last night. So I just think that's going to be their backbone.
For sure. And I think this is going to help the whole just offense in general, right? Like Amari Cooper gives them a deep threat that they didn't have before. Like they were trying to force Keon Coleman to do that, but that's not really his thing. And defenses were playing kind of like that one high safety look and just like daring them to throw the ball deep and then knowing that they couldn't. And so it was tough to run the ball, tough to get that underneath stuff. This should open up everything. This should help Dalton Kincaid. Shakir underneath. He's not going to get the volume that he was getting, but I think he'll have better quality targets just because he'll be able to do more with better coverage. So I like it. I like the deal a lot. I've always liked Amari Cooper too. I'm super stoked. Like I've always been very bullish on Amari Cooper, and so now I feel like he's finally got a good quarterback to play with again after the whole. I think Dak was probably the last QB he's played with that was worth anything. So
totally
really exciting. How does this change your price on Amari Cooper if you are contending, or are you still kind of in that same range?
Yeah, makes me regret that I sold him to Holler like 2 weeks early.
I'm still buying for a second, but I think his price will go up. Maybe he doesn't have a great game this week, but I think after week 8, his price is going to go up because I think he's going to continue to get some numbers.
Yeah. I think he's probably in that strange tier of not really a late 1 and not really an early 2 kind of deal.
Yep.
Just because of his age, and there's
probably
all
going
the
to
stats out there of a wide receiver changing teams midseason and what they can and can't do. I think Amari's a little bit better, and he can kind of curtail some of that stuff. And it's also Josh Allen, and he can put that ball wherever he wants to. So the opportunity is definitely going to be there.
I know I said he's been playing well, but some of the balls he threw last night looked pretty rough. And I think he'll get better. But yeah, last night, some of those things, whew, he looked like
Joshy boy.
Uncle Rico. Sheesh.
He did have Uncle Rico to him. He's like, "Shit, I'll throw this as hard as I can, see if he can catch it." And part of that's just because he doesn't have good receivers, just tighter windows. Hopefully, someone like Amari Cooper can get open. Now, the concern is like they're already 6 weeks into the season. Amari Cooper, how fast can you learn the offense to get on the field? I have no idea how different Buffalo's offense is versus Cleveland's, but I feel like most of the offenses kind of stem from a Shanahan McVay style of system, and so they should all be fairly. It's just like the terminology and stuff, right? So, I don't know, we'll see. But he's done it before, though. Was the silver lining there when he got traded from the Raiders to the Cowboys, and he lit it up right away. So
definitely, and like he's super talented, and sometimes just you don't even need the playbook when you're that talented. So
yep. I pulled up a few trades. He's not really trading very often here. Only 117 trades found, and usually that's a pretty low number on Dynasty Daddy. But like, there's only been one today, which is just too much in there for me to kind of really get a good grasp. But like, this one's really cheap. Amari Cooper for Jacoby Myers in at 4th. Another one was Amari Cooper and Jahan Dotson in a 4th. Those two, I don't think those two are getting done in like the leagues that we are playing in. One that I thought was a little crazy, Amari Cooper in a 2nd for Tank Dell. I'm taking Tank Dell pretty easily there.
I'll probably take Tank Dell in a 2nd.
I'm gonna take Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Did you say Tank and a 2?
Tank
no,
and a
Amari
2nd.
Cooper. No, Amari Cooper in a 2nd for Tank Dell.
Oh.
Okay, then I want the Amari side.
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously depends on where that 2nd is, but I think this was done 3 days ago, so before the trade. So before the trade, I'm taking Tank Dell pretty easily. Now I think I think twice, but I think I'm leaning Tank Dell. And then there's another one 4 days ago, Amari Cooper for Cortland Sutton. I know Cortland Sutton's been playing well, but give me Amari Cooper.
Not that well.
Yeah.
Great.
So, yeah, those are like kind of the highlights there, which I think it's like we talked about. I think it's around a 2nd and maybe a player you're gonna have to get Amari Cooper.
I got a trade here. I just saw it's a super flex 12 team start 10 full PPR half point tight end premium Amari Cooper for Ladd McConkey just straight up. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh man.
It probably depends on what side of the build you're on right now, but
yeah.
I'll take Amari Cooper, and then honestly, man, if I'm like just outside the playoffs or like I don't know exactly where my team's going, I still might take Amari Cooper and see what he does in the next couple weeks, and then flip him for something else. Because I think Ladd McConkey's value is going to be pretty stagnant over the next few weeks. Right, maybe the whole end of the year, and I think it's going to take time until he. I still think he's going to be like that 2nd or 3rd option and have some spike games, but Amari Cooper's going to give you some more like better value. So maybe you're in that 7 through 9 right now, and then Amari Cooper has a spike game in week 8, but you do end up losing, then you can kind of return that value and probably get a little bit more than what you would have maybe for a Ladd McConkey.
That's fair. The problem I have with Ladd McConkey too, it seems like he's always getting kind of just like nicked up a little bit. It's like he
totally.
He was banged up a lot at Georgia. Like last week, he left the game for a little bit, and then he came back in, and he got hurt again on the catch. He kept coming back in to give him credit, but it's just like it makes me a little nervous. And he's never really been like a workhorse wide receiver. You know what I mean? He's not
Sure.
been like the guy getting all the volume, and so that always scares me a little bit.
Yep.
Well, he's averaging more points per game than Olave.
Yeah, so am I. So we averaged more points. we scored more fantasy points than he did last week. So
yeah, that is very true. Okay,
yeah, I feel kind of bad saying that. I mean, because he did fumble because he got a big hit, but anyway, you know,
I mean,
he's in the NFL and we're not. And we scored more than him, so we can give him a little bit of shit.
Sure. And the biggest trade of the day, Cam Akers was traded to the Vikings.
Buried the lead.
Yeah, I know, right? We should have led with this one for sure.
There's been a lot of like a couple of random leagues I had, like, ooh, Aaron Jones is dead, and blah blah blah. But I really just think
might be
like Ty Chandler is just, it means he's crap. Like I think they needed another running back. I know maybe Aaron Jones is not fully healthy. Maybe he doesn't play this week. But I think, in my opinion, he's fine. When he was not injured and was playing, he was doing really, really well. And so I think, we saw it when Aaron Jones went out, they could not move the ball on the ground. And so I think that's mainly what they needed to is go out and get somebody that could actually move the ball. And we saw Cam Akers was doing pretty well. And also Cam Akers knows the system because he played there last year.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it was a cheap option. Someone that knows the offense. This tells me I feel like Aaron Jones is maybe out like 2-3 weeks. Because they didn't like go out and spend for like a big name guy, right? They got someone who knows the system, knows the offense. And Cam Akers, he's fine. He played pretty well the last couple weeks in Houston.
I think
him and Ty Chandler.
There was one
backfield duo, aren't they?
Yeah, I think there was 1 week he did really well, and then another week he was mediocre or not even anything. But like earlier today, I was looking at, or not really too much earlier, but right after the trade news broke, I was trying to find if there was any news about Aaron Jones, and there's honestly like all over the place. There was one article that said good news, another article that said he could be out a couple weeks. So I don't really think anything concrete has come out. So I think it's still to be determined.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't really pay anything of what they sent. Houston sent a 7 and Akers for a 6, right? Those are conditional depending on, I think, playing time and that kind of thing. So it wasn't exactly like a king's ransom that they had to pay to get Cam Akers back on their squad.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. To the injuries now. It is a long and lengthy list. Bear with me. Travis Etienne with a hamstring week to week. Chris Olave, concussion. Marvin Harrison Jr., concussion. Jerome Ford, hamstring. Dontavian Wicks, shoulder. I believe both those guys are week to week on the hamstring shoulder with Ford and Wicks. Quentin Johnston, ankle. Hayden Hurst, groin. Dallas Goedert, hamstring. Jordan Mason, shoulder. Rashid Shaheed, knee. Rashid Shaheed's injury is terrifying because they're like, we're not really sure what it is, but it seems bad. So that's not great.
Right. And they play Thursday night. So
someone's losing a job there.
Right. Yeah, I don't expect Olave or Shaheed this week.
Something I noticed, Olave already has a projection of 0. So I think that was shouts out to fantasy or to Sleeper there. Easy to kind of write off that he's not going to play and get him out of your lineups early.
Honestly, if he got into the protocol on Sunday, I don't think there's actually enough time for him to even be able to clear it, right? Because I think you have to have so many days of concussion-free symptoms before you can move to the next phase. I don't think it's actually possible for him to play on Thursday.
Do you think he can get into a Travis Scott concert in between that time?
Probably.
That's possible.
Just dial up Malik Neighbors.
That's what Neighbors did. Oh my Lord!
That was hilarious. He was asked Abel about that, and he was like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna handle that in house." So it's like, yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah, man.
What I think about that is, I just think he's still young. I think
yeah,
the right people will get him some like I don't want to say help, but he'll be fine.
Mature a little bit.
Yeah, the right people will let him know what he needs to do, and I think it'll all be fine.
There's a few things that have me tilting my head at Neighbors a little bit too. Like somebody pointed it out on Twitter, and it was like, would it kill the man to wear like any sort of New York Giants gear, like while he's on the sideline? And I'm like, I kind of get it. You're here with the team still. You should support your guys or whatever. But nothing. Yeah. I'm like, what a knucklehead. He's not George Pickens yet, but like, there's a few things that I'm like, these are some weird choices you're making, bud.
That just tells me he's that dog, man. He's the wide receiver one, right? They start acting stupid.
I am the offense.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the one I want. I wish the Raiders had someone like him, right?
Yep.
Do what he wants.
Anything? I have one that I think really sticks out to me. But out of these injuries, actually, I think I have two of them. But who sticks out for you guys here?
Marvin Harrison, another concussion. That's not another concussion, but another player with a concussion. Was crappy there. Travis Etienne, week to week with a hamstring. That one's big for me. I think he was struggling anyways. He had that was it a fumble he had that he early in the game where he coughed up the rock and basically Dearness Johnson was out snapping him and Tank, to be fair, which was a weird choice.
Weird. I think the game was weird in general, and in my opinion, they should have fired.
I think the only reason he has a job is because they're still in London.
They're still in London.
I think literally the 2 weeks of London is the only reason he is still in.
They have a bye the week after, don't they?
I don't know.
Certain.
I'd have to. Let me look it up.
They do.
But yeah, so my two that I wanted to point out was obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., but mine were the two running backs, Travis Etienne, and then Jordan Mason, mainly because Jordan Mason was the number one running back in terms of yards, and he was playing super well. So that's really big, especially for anybody that was kind of relying on him. Garendo looked really, really good when he came in.
Yeah, he did.
So we'll see if Jordan Mason. He had almost 100 yards on 10 carries. So he did have that one big run.
That's not all on like one carry though. Like 99% of them yards are on like one carry.
Yes, but he
did practice on Monday. So. Jordan Mason did, just so
Garendo has that 4.3 speed. So if he hits a seam or anything like that, he is truly gone. But like, I don't think that dude has any vision to fight his way out of a paper bag, and I think that's the problem.
That's the good thing. He plays in the offense. He does, right? He doesn't.
Oh yeah, for sure,
right?
For sure.
They scheme up runs, and he's like, "Hey, do you just go where this place is designed? And if we block it well, you're gone." Which
exactly, no, definitely.
But on Travis Etienne, I think we touched on it last week, but Bigsby's playing well, even though even though last week Dearness Johnson out-touched Tank Bigsby, but I think that was just game script and
more coaching,
the coach is terrible. But yeah, I'm worried about Etienne. Maybe he's just the last couple of weeks been injured, but in general, it has not looked good.
Can you sell him for anything right now? And would you? How low would you go to get rid of Travis Etienne off your roster?
Okay.
Asking for a friend.
I'm a friend. I know a guy that'll buy him probably full price.
Friend?
Yeah, how did you read my mind like that? Hold on, let me pull these up. Sorry, I was messing
around. I'll pull up Jaguars fans in our Discord.
Yeah,
go ahead,
let's see, running back wise.
Unfortunately, I don't know if I have just a soft spot for Travis Etienne, but I'm on my way out. But like I still think once he's healthy, I think he'll be fine. Wes, I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head there. But I would take a late first for him. I would take. All right, here's a good one. Travis Etienne for Tony Pollard straight up. Whoa,
Oh
Jake,
my
You found the same thing I did.
Trades. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with ETN there. I can't go that low.
Give me Tony the show pony.
I really.
Yeah.
Pollard's been good.
Yeah, I know he has.
Will Levis.
But like, the thing is with Tony Pollard is you just got to know that man is stuck with you for life if you take Tony Pollard on. For some reason, everybody hates him even when he plays good.
Here's another good one.
I mean,
that was ETN for DeAndre Swift straight up.
ETN.
So I'm not gonna
go look at the team. Yeah. Go look at the teams the Bears have played like the last 2 to 3 weeks.
But guess what? They get to play that schedule because they finished dead last in their division last year, so they get to keep doing it, and so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Give me the Swift, man. The Chicago's offense is coming around. So just real quick, Caleb Williams was dealing, dude. He made that one boneheaded throw where the dude was wide open.
That was hilarious.
Just under threw it. But
I thought you were talking about the one he bounced off the lineman's helmet.
Okay, so he made 2 bad throws. but no, like he was dealing, dude. Caleb Williams looked good last week. The offense is starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, the Jaguars do that. So will the Panthers. Okay, all right. ETN or ETN or Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks, easy.
ETN.
Yeah, I'll take Jonathan Brooks. I'll take Jonathan Brooks. I still think once he plays well, once he plays, he should play well. If Chuba Hubbard can do it, Jonathan Brooks can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chuba's looking.
If he can't, then that guy. Whew.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked about him in the offseason, honestly. So ETN or Ramondre. I know you guys like Ramondre.
I do, but he's been injured, and I don't love. I mean, I know Drake May's in there now, and that offense should look a little bit better, but that offensive line is so bad that I'll roll with ETN still.
Okay. Give me Ramondre.
Okay,
that's fair. It's a toss up there.
ETN's they're tiered together for me. Just heads up.
Yeah, ETN or Monty.
Oh, Montgomery. At least I know I'm going to get good production easily. Out of him. And he's locked up in a nice contract. Like, I know I'm going to get probably another 2 good years out of Montgomery before I have to worry about it.
Okay.
I really need to update these tiers of mine.
ETN or Henry?
ETN.
Oh. Give me the big dog.
I'll Henry
Freak of nature. God,
that one I know I'm losing the age battle a lot, and I don't care. Derrick Henry,
but for me,
he's just different, man.
Yeah, it's like
he's eternal.
I'm about to say he is like stays healthy more than Christian McCaffrey. Like the guy does not he doesn't miss games.
He must have the Infinity Stones the way he's out there, man. I don't understand.
Yeah, he does. He's going to go like on a Tom Brady career and play till he's 40. Like, dude, I would not be shocked in the least.
He hasn't slowed down at all. He's looking awesome.
Nope. Would you guys go all the way to your boy Brian Robinson for Travis Etienne? Would you go all the way down to Brian Robinson?
Yeah, I would.
I would as well. Brian Robinson's playing well. I mean, obviously he's injured. I don't know how much longer he's going to be out, but him and
he's a surprising active. It sounded like he was going to play.
Because here's the thing with ETN too, right? Like he hasn't.
Oh wow!
God, that comment from life.
You're welcome.
I mean, still. We don't need to get into that. Travis Etienne, he played bad the second half of last year. I think people are still holding on to like the first 8 games last year. He was like the running back 2, and he was just lighting it up. But then this whole second half of last year, he was a running back 1, I think 1 or maybe 2 weeks, and he was pretty awful. And then to start the year off this year, he's been pretty bad too. Like I think the dude might just suck. And so I have almost no faith in Travis Etienne anymore. So I'm pretty willing to go. If I'm getting a competent running back, I'm pretty willing to just bite the bullet on that one and get him off my roster.
Would you go?
I'm with you.
This is cross positionally, but just out of curiosity, Xavier Worthy.
No, I can't go that far yet.
No, I don't think I'm going to go that far. Just because I don't. Peter Worthy's not. They're not using him like a receiver. They're still kind of using him as like a gadgety kind of guy.
I think he's still working. I think he's still finding his way.
Yeah. He's fast though.
Tuck rule. Yeah, the Tuck rule is terrible. That's the worst call that's ever happened and launched an entire dynasty, but that's neither here nor there. I'm actually on your side for that one, McSpanky. The Raiders got shafted in that game.
We usually do.
Yeah, trust me. I know how that goes.
Every fan base thinks that, right?
Yeah. Why do you think Dallas got slapped by 39 points? It's because of a bad call. Anyway, so some dynasty updates on some players. We have some rookie debuts this week. Spencer Rattler and Drake May stepped onto the field for the first time. I didn't really see much about Spencer Rattler because I really have zero interest in Spencer Rattler because I think he looks like Voldemort, and it's just like stay away from me. Yeah, he does. Look at the picture.
He was fine. Yeah.
I heard someone accurately described him. It was actually the Draft Dudes podcast. They were talking about how Spencer Rattler thinks he's way more athletic than he actually is. And when you watch him, you can kind of see it, right? Like he thinks that he can get away from all this pressure and all the defenses, but he really can't. And I saw it a few times this game. I was like, that was probably the best I've ever heard him described. And it fits. He's fine though. He makes he throws a pretty ball. His decision making is still questionable. I think he threw 2 picks.
Sure.
They got boat raced by Tampa Bay. They beat the tar out of them. And then Drake May, I thought he actually looked okay. I thought he looked solid. He threw 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Some of the wonkiness, like 30% of his yards came in the fourth quarter when they were down 2 scores. So a little bit of that was garbage time. You could also spin it and say, like, it was his first game. He's kind of just like getting, through. He kind of got better as the game went on. So you can kind of paint a picture however you want to spin that one. He completed less than 60% of his passes. Yeah. I think so. And his offensive line, and this is a part of this one, so his ADOT was 5.1, which is the lowest of any starting quarterback. Part of that, the offensive line, not great. Houston was just teeing off. So,
sure.
But all in all, that wasn't terrible for a rookie debut, right? Like he played.
Yeah, fine. People were concerned for his health coming into this Texans game. Yeah. Like people were legitimately like, couldn't you have waited one more week and then put Drake May out there? But I think it was good to, even though it was garbage time touchdowns and things like that, I think it was good to, some of the stuff that he did, on the move is just, not a lot of people could do that. So, he definitely has the skill set if they can hone it, and tame him down. I know Spanky is just hating life right now with the Drake May talk.
No, he's fine. It's just he still has some of that questionable.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said about him.
It really is.
That's fine. That's fine. Because you know who else makes questionable decisions? Your boy Jordan Love. Anyway,
he does.
Jordan Love just has better wide receivers. Yeah. Anyway.
So on quarterbacks, I just wanted to touch. I think Drake May was fine. I think. Nothing crazy, and I think that's kind of what we thought he was going to be. Right, he's not going to be this fantasy superstar. I think there's some flashes that he could be okay, but really, I think he's in that QB. The top. I think the highest he's ever going to get is like QB 16 to 24 range. I think that right there is just kind of his window. So no fantasy superstar there, but talking about a fantasy superstar here, boom, boom, boom. I'd put Jaden Daniels all the way up to tier 1. Is my QB2. The guy last week was not quite as good, but he was still solid against the Ravens. He's going to be playing the Panthers this week. I expected an explosion.
From him or from you?
Both. I was going to say, my pants will be changed multiple times.
Why not both?
And
Life, get the laundry running.
Yep. I was loving Jaden Daniels coming in, and mainly just because I just felt like he was going to be a really very good like fantasy QB, and he has been. And then on top of that, he's been
good,
super
like
good
in real life too.
For real life too. So yeah, just loving Jaden Daniels.
Some wide receivers moving down. I think Odunze and Olave. It's a little bit of that rookie, the shine has kind of wore off Odunze, I think, a little bit, just for me in particular, especially with these offensive explosions happening, and he's not really a part of it. I haven't, been able to sit down and watch a Chicago Bears game and see, is he just not catching targets? Are they just, just misfiring here and there? You know what I mean? Getting, Caleb slightly missing him or what? It's kind of stunk so far for him this year.
He's just they're kind of using him as the big play kind of guy, not consistent volume. Mm-hmm. They're using DJ Moore and Kmet and Keenan Allen as the consistent chain movers and those kind of things, where they do some big plays with Rome. So he's going to be a little hot and cold.
Some boom busty.
Yeah, and I think we've said it before, but I think Rome is going to really blossom next year once Keenan Allen is gone. He got 2 touchdowns last week. I think he's just going to be kind of a thorn in the side of Rome Odunze this year. And so I just think moving forward, I think if we see some flashes from him, I really won't move Rome too far down. But I still think he's ranked too high.
Yeah, I agree. And we talked about Olave kind of moving down last week. Just don't think he's ever going to reach the heights that we thought Olave could reach when he came into the league. We've already kind of hit on Etienne a little bit, but some running backs.
What I wanted to talk about.
Oh, go ahead, Holler.
Before we move, I just wanted to talk about. I think a guy you should go out and try to buy is T. Higgins. I know on Sunday night the
doing good.
The offense was pretty rough in general, but him and Ja'Marr Chase got the yardage. He almost had a touchdown. T. Higgins did, but I think he's a guy that down the stretch is going to be super, super helpful. And I think if you are contending, I think you should go out and buy T. Higgins. I think he's going to be going to help your team win down the stretch.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
he's been out targeting Ja'Marr Chase on a weekly basis. Yeah.
I don't know if it would get done, but I would sell any. I would buy him for any. If I could move any first, I might do a first. And if there's any kind of, I know Jalen Polk has been nothing, but if he was anything, I think I would add, Jalen Polk to a first. But if I can move a first for him, I would definitely every time. I was buying George Pickens for a first. Unfortunately, the last couple of weeks he hasn't been quite as good. But I think T. Higgins is somebody you can get definitely for a late first.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay, so we talked about Etienne on these running backs going down. We already talked about him. Some running backs going up, though. Bucky Irving, definitely. Sean Tucker, maybe. Ooh. Kamani Vidal, maybe. Ray Davis, probably, definitely.
Going up. So with these guys, it's just Bucky Irving's the one I feel most confident is going to continue getting more work. Vidal, I think, will too, just because Gus Edwards is on IR, so I think he's going to keep getting worked in. Ray Davis hopefully gets above Ty Johnson on the rotation now when James Cook is back.
Sean Tucker, I felt like that was a one-game thing. He is. Yeah. Sean Tucker was all in garbage time. I was doing family stuff. I didn't get to pay attention to Red Zone, but I heard that all Sean Tucker stuff was at the end of the game, and it was already out of hand when Sean Tucker was into the game, kind of stuff.
But damn it, it was still good.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. He looked really, really good. Of course, it was a lot of garbage time. But I'm with you, Spank. Yeah, I think the guy, out of Tampa Bay is going to be Bucky. But I feel good with any Buck right now. That offense is humming. Then
Baker,
I think,
baby.
I mean, I don't feel like super comfortable enough to have like Sean Tucker be a weekly thing. But and I'm totally out on Rachaad White. But yeah, I feel like Bucky Irving is a thing, and I think he's the running back to own in Tampa Bay.
I agree. Side note: Sean Tucker won someone $1 million this week on DraftKings.
I saw that.
Oh man!
He was like the floor price on DFS this week, and he was in someone's lineup, and
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I saw on X that it was like I was like the million, like the $1 million.
A Millie Maker,
It was like the Millie Maker was like a I'm gonna forget now, but he was like a fortune teller, so like he could tell the future.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we got time we're on our hands here.
Yeah,
and he was like,
right.
I don't know how it's ridiculous.
But
yeah, go ahead, Holly.
Moving forward, I think Vidal could be the guy, but what's his name is going to be involved still. So
yeah, I think so.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins.
I was laughing at Wes's comment in the chat. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Yeah. I think Ray Davis would probably be second on this list.
Yep.
I really thought I thought Ty Johnson would have a shot because Ty Johnson had been involved even with James Cook on the field. So I thought
they gave him the start.
Yeah, right. He got the 10-yard carry, and they're like, "All right, now it's Ray's turn." Like literally, like I was like, "Oh my god, this is just horrid." I had traded a third, because I had a James Cook, and
against
somebody raked me over the coals. Yeah, somebody raked me over the coals. I was hoping to just hold on. I thought he could just give me like 10 points or something, man.
He didn't. And I won.
No, he did not. You did. It sucked. But anyway, Ray Davis looked really good. He was, trucking dudes and whatever. We'll see what happens when James Cook comes back because he pretty much seemed like the workhorse and like there wasn't much Ray Davis, but I don't know how you don't get Ray on the field after running, against Jets defense like he did. And I know the Jets are kind of reeling and not the Jets of old, but I still think that's a solid defense and a solid effort for them to, run the ball like that with a rookie that had very little to no touches up until that point, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch NFL countdown too often, but whenever I tune in, they always say that the Jets defense is really good. It's like a top defense in the NFL. Which I disagree, but if Ray Davis can do that, I think he's got to get on the field. And I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I just think the Bills, their first thing they want to do is run the ball. I know they went out and got Amari Cooper, but that's what they want to do. They want to run the ball. And so I think Ray Davis should be involved. And I think somebody I would go out and buy. I'd caution like how much I'd pay. I was just looking up to see like recently kind of what his price would be. But what would you guys pay for Ray Davis?
Oh, let me pull up my tiers because I will tell you where I have him. Let's see. I have him tiered at a late 2 right now, and I feel like that's probably fine.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 trades here. 2 for Ray Davis. Ray Davis for Kamani Vidal and a third. Ray Davis for Marshawn Lloyd and a fourth. I want Ray Davis. All those. Yep. Ray Davis and a third for a second. Smash Ray Davis. Ray Davis for 2/3. Give me Ray Davis. So right now he's trading at like a late 2.
That's about right.
3 and 4.
2/3 is roughly about. I think that's good. I would do that.
Look, he looked really good on the field. I'm just going to come out here and say this, and it's going to sound a bit crazy, but he just has such an unsuccessful name, like just insurance salesman name, Ray Davis. Like you just like
it has no pop.
Right.
No
fun to it. Can't you get just a little bit cooler of a name, man? all that
Tank
aside, he's
Bigsby
really
or Ray Davis? Come on now.
Well, right, Tank Bigsby. That's who you're gonna take. Tank Bigsby. I mean, easy peasy. No way. Geez, sorry, I'm trying to move Ray Davis up my rankings also. Okay, tight ends that moved up. We'll just kind of skim over these real quick. Tight ends up. Komet Hawkinson, Jatavian Sanders. Jatavian got a bunch of targets. Hawks on his way in, and Komet seems like he has dusted old Gerald Everett for good at this point.
And good
it's about time.
Yeah, like you guys mentioned, the Bears keep playing that fourth place schedule. Okay, in the starts of the week, I'm just going to start it off with a bang here at quarterback, and I'm going to say Drake May, because I believe
Jaguars concur.
They get the Jaguars, who have just been the medicine for everybody. We saw what Caleb just did to them. I know that they have no wide receivers, but we got our man, the Hog Daddy, going out there to London with Drake May. And I think that the Jaguars are just bad enough that we can just keep this game competitive, and we can, we can keep slinging that rock and just let Drake May run a little bit out there, and we'll see what happens.
I love it. Baker Mayfield, baby. I know this isn't crazy. I'm not digging too deep, but he's been playing awesome. I know if you're looking at it, they're playing the Ravens defense, and you're like, oh. These Ravens are usually pretty good, but they are giving up the second most points to fantasy, the second most fantasy points to QBs. So lock him in for another, in my opinion, top 5 finish this week. I do know he threw 3 interceptions last week, but I think that's just part of the Baker experience. He's going to throw interceptions, but he's going to throw touchdowns. So fire up your Bucks, man. Like I talked about earlier,
always
they're humming right now.
They are very good. Baker's most underappreciated fantasy asset in football right now.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford. All right, I like that actually. Stafford against the Raiders this week. The Raiders have thrown in the towel. They are officially scouting college prospects and just they no longer give a shit about this team. So. Stafford's good, and the Raiders are not. So let's go.
Good news. Cup may be playing. I haven't heard much about Puka. Puka's still not practicing. Yeah, Puka definitely not playing. But Cooper could be playing. Honestly, we don't need to talk about this too long. But if you are like a rebuilding, I would, if you have any like wide receivers in that, maybe not Drake London, but maybe that tier below, I would look to buy Puka because I think he may only play a couple games this year, and I don't think Matthew Stafford's going anywhere. So I think the Rams are going to be much better next year.
2 things. Tom Brady has apparently been mentoring Shedeur Sanders. This was news to me, but apparently it gets talked about all the time. Tom Brady is now a partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Shedeur Sanders has already been linked to the Raiders in the next year's draft. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. And on the Baker note, did you guys see that in the Red River rivalry, Texas drove a flag through Baker's jersey, and then somebody asked Baker about it, and Baker said, well, I've just been living in their heads rent-free for 10 years.
I love such a good answer.
It really was.
Such a good answer.
It really was. Okay. Silliness aside, are we on to running backs now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got Tank Bigsby. They're playing the Patriots. ETN's week to week. And the Jaguars should be able to compete with the Patriots. It's kind of like a suck-off bowl here. I had to go with it. I heard it in my head, and I was like, you know what? Just roll with it. Whatever. I don't care. It's the end of the show. Go ahead, Holler.
All right. So there's a little bit of an asterisk with this one. Tyrone Tracy has been awesome. I haven't, it's early in the week, so we haven't heard much about Devin Singletary. But in my opinion, I think they should be having Tyrone Tracy be their running back 1. But if Tyrone Tracy doesn't play, or not, like if Devin Singletary doesn't play and Tyrone Tracy's getting all the work, fire him up. But if Devin Singletary's back, he's going to get most of the work, so you could fire him up as well because they are playing the Eagles and the Eagles are absolutely garbage against running backs. They're giving up tons of they're giving up 5 yards per carry and about 4 to 5 catches per game. So fire up your New York Giants running backs.
Love it. My running backs for the week. So I went pretty deep down the rankings this week, try to find some dark horses. This one's Najee Harris. He tore up the Raiders last week. Najee hasn't looked great this year. He looked awesome last week.
He did.
And granted,
some of his runs were awesome.
They get the Jets this week. Sounds like Russell Wilson's going to play. You can't let that dude cook. So get a heavy dose of Najee Harris.
Yeah.
I don't need to get into it, but I don't think Russ will play. I think it's just coach speak.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Russ brought the lawyers into the office.
Probably. Sat down super awkwardly too, I bet. Anyway,
of course,
I got Terry McLaurin versus the Panthers. I just
love it.
Panthers. Let's just fire it up. We'll just keep it rolling with Scary Terry. He's having a great year. Hope it continues. Who you got for wide receiver, Holler?
My boy Daniels is really finally getting it to the right wide receiver. Wide receiver for me, Cortland Sutton. He's been playing super well the last couple of weeks. He gets a good matchup against the Saints. They just gave up 5,000 yards and 500 points to the Buccaneers. He's gotten 13 points per game, PPR points per game in the last 4 weeks. And him and Knicks are getting into a groove. So fire up Cortland Sutton.
Love it. Mine's gross, so this isn't going to sound good to anyone, but Jerry Jeudy, they get the Cincinnati Bengals. There's no one else left to throw passes to. So even if only half of them are on target, I mean, no one else is there. Him and Njoku can basically get 50-50 target share. Cincinnati can't stop anybody. Man, I don't know. I know it's gonna feel gross, but this is the situation right now, right? Like, there's a ton of injuries. There's a good chance, and I know I have a few teams that I'm gonna have to play Jerry Jeudy. I think you could do worse, and that's where I was going with this. Is like, you're staring down the barrel at like, oh God, what's gonna happen? Jerry Judy's the one I'm gonna take my dart throw on. If he's kind of like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think like one guy that's pointing out in my head is like, if you were starting Michael Wilson. He's been playing all right, but I think you're feeling better about putting Jerry Jeudy in there versus like a Michael Wilson. So,
hey, I take exception to that, Wes. Drake May was not the obvious choice here.
Anyway. That's fair. Oh, you got a good one here. This one isn't obvious.
Yeah. Let me get to this one. Mr. Jonnu Smith. Tight end.
Let's go.
Start of the week here versus the Colts. The Colts are giving it up to everybody except for Will Levis, who apparently just can't play quarterback. But there's that. I think Jonnu had like 8 targets last week. Apparently Tyler Huntley can't get the ball to anybody except for Jonnu Smith. So I think in your 2 PPR leagues, Jonnu will definitely be worth it.
Totally.
I like that a lot.
Another corpse of tight end, Zach Ertz. This kind of ties into Scary Terry and Jaden Daniels, but he's been getting the ball to Zach Ertz, and he's had 5 points per PPR points every game except 1. So believe it or not, he has been one of the better tight ends this year. And they get the Panthers, and I think the Commanders are going to look awesome this week and score a lot of points.
He was the tight end 11 last week, so I mean, it's gross and he's ancient, but he's getting the job done. Mine is Ja'Tavion Sanders on the other side of the ball in that game against the Commanders. Their pass defense is horrendous. Ja'Tavion Sanders started getting he's sneakily getting involved here. He had a 72% snap percentage last week, which is up from around 50%. So he's getting more and more involved. Sometimes these rookies take a little bit to get going. He also had 7 targets last week, and there's only a handful of tight ends who are getting 7 targets in a week. So let's see. I think Ja'Tavion Sanders might start to be a thing here. So I'm excited to kind of see where he goes.
Let's go. Finally.
Yeah,
Ja'Tavion Sanders was my little darling. He was a Debbie guy that I liked. He was I was talking him up.
Been talking about Ja'Tavion for a while. Yeah.
Finally.
What was that?
Holly's been talking about Ja'Tavion for a while.
Yes, he has. I heard something else. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Before we get out of here, give me a waiver pickup.
Oh, okay.
Because that's you got to get your waivers in tonight.
Bub Means, because he might be the only person catching passes for New Orleans on Thursday night. I don't know. I was trying to think of people who could actually be on the waiver, in dynasty leagues, which can get tough in some of the start 11s that we partake in. So imagine how deep the benches are.
Believe it or not,
start 11 players.
I was watching Red Zone, and Bub Meebs, his name is actually not Bub. It's Gerard, and I had no idea.
Huh.
So, believe it or not. Mine is Dearness Johnson. I know we love Tank Bigsby, but Dearness Johnson, he was had some good carries last week. We're scraping bottom of the barrel, but I think he's going to be, used this week.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I really like
of the
this
barrel.
tight end, Spanky.
So I'm going to give you two.
Yeah,
Bottom of the barrel. DJ Turner, he's a wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. They have nobody left. Exactly. But he plays 70% of the snaps on Sunday because they have no one. And so if you want someone out there will play, run some routes, maybe he'll catch a ball, maybe he won't. I don't know, but he'll be there. He's on the roster. So DJ Turner, I guarantee you he's on waivers in your league, and you can get him for free because nobody knows who he is. And then a tight end one, Grant Calcaterra, tight end for Philly. If Dallas Goedert is out, he's a really athletic tight end. He's just kind of been taking a back seat, but he had a nice little catch and run this last week. He's capable of doing that sort of thing. So check it out if he's there on your waivers because Calcaterra's he's a nice little option there.
Do you know who his college quarterback was?
I know he played at SMU, but I don't know.
Oh, he played at Oklahoma with Baker.
Did he? I think he transferred.
Yeah, he did.
But
yeah, he did.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
Just some more Baker love. Yeah.
I love it. I'm always here for it.
You guys got anything else tonight?
Get your Fantasy Effect merch.
Oh,
the merch.
Yeah. Spanky's got the link if you guys want it. Yeah.
I'll put it. I'll have to throw it in the YouTube video. It's in the Discord too. But yeah, buy some merch.
Get your merch.
It looks good.
Right. Thanks, Wes. See you guys.
Peace out.
We love you, Wes.